Okay, we have one section left. We're going to use the rules of exponents to simplify expressions with negative exponents. So I have x to the 13th times x to the 6th. Well, first of all, we have two variables that are side by side. And when that happens, we keep our variable and we add our exponents. So negative 13 plus 6 is negative 7. Now, since that's a negative exponent, we have to put it on the bottom of a fraction because it's right now it would technically be on the top. Okay. Here we have the x's side by side. So first we have to keep our x and we have to add our exponents. So negative 11 plus negative 3 is negative 11. We learned this back in a couple topics before, where if they're side by side, you add your exponents. We get negative 11. So technically this would be over 1. So that makes it 1 over x to the 11th. Because if it's negative, it needs to go to the bottom. All right, this is a variable raised to a power, raised to a power. So when they are raised to a power, we multiply. So we keep the x. Negative 6 times negative 7 is positive 42. And since it's a positive 42, it stays. Okay, this is x. Negative 9 times 5 is negative 45. And because it's negative, we need to flip it. Okay. All right, this one I have everything in parentheses has to be raised to the negative 2. So I have 9 to the negative 2. I have a to the negative 2. I have b to the negative 3 to the negative 2, which negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. And c, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Okay. Now I am going to move everything where it needs to go. So like if this is all over 1 and the 9 to the negative 2 is negative, it goes to the bottom. A to the negative 2 goes to the bottom. B to the 6 stays on the top. And C to the negative 4 goes on the bottom. But because I have a whole number in there, I have to simplify that. So my final answer, 9 times 9, two 9s being multiplied together, is 81, a squared, c to the 4th. Okay, now I have 2 being raised to a negative 3. I have x to the negative 4 to the negative 3, which is positive 12. And y to the 5 to the negative 3 is negative 15. If that's all over 1, I now have 2 to the 3rd at the bottom, x to the 12th on the top, y to the 15th on the bottom. And now I can finish that out. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So my final is x over 12, or x to the 12th over 8y to the 15th. Okay, x to the 8th over x to the 14th. So in our division one that we learned a few minutes ago, when you have a same variable on the top and the bottom, we subtract our exponents. So 8 minus 14 is negative 6. And because it's negative, we need to flip it to make it positive. Okay, so I have x and x, so I'll keep my x. Negative 7 minus 6 is negative 13. And because it's a negative, it needs to flip to become positive. Next one, I have my quotient, but it's being raised to a power, so I gotta take care of that first. So I have x to the 5th to the negative 4th is negative 20. Over y to the negative 4 to the negative 4 is positive 16. The top one is negative, so it needs to go down. The y stays. You have to have something on the top, so you put a 1. Okay. a to the negative 3 to the negative 6 is a to the 18. B to the second to the negative 6 is negative 12. C to the negative 5 to the negative 6 is 30. So the a to the 18th is going to stay on the top. B to the 12th is going to go down. C stays at the bottom. And that's your final. So the whole purpose of these is what we are doing is we are simplifying everything. Okay. So if we go back to the beginning, we're just taking, you have a whole bunch of x's being multiplied together. We're simplifying it down to one thing. Okay. So if you have common things, we're just simplifying it down. Okay? If things are being raised to the power, our goal is to get rid of the parentheses. So to get rid of the parentheses, if it's being raised to a power, we multiply our exponents. Okay, so our goal was to get rid of parentheses. Get rid of parentheses, get rid of parentheses, simplify it down to 1. Get rid of the parentheses, simplify it down, simplify, get rid of parentheses, simplify. Okay. If I have a whole bunch of x's on the top and a bunch of x's on the bottom, cancel out what they have in common, and then you have a final of what x's you have left. So the whole purpose of what this chapter is simplifying using exponents. Okay, you don't want negative exponents, so you have to flip it to get rid of the negatives to become positive. Okay, keep in mind, here's your homework. Match your answers up with the answer key that I provide. Give me your letter answers in Google Classroom. Email me if you have any questions.